Thank you. Thank you. Mr. President, my name is Curtis Robinson. I'm on the board of St. Francis Hospital in the state of Connecticut. And about 22 months ago, I realized that there was a report from men who was dying in the emergency room. And I called some of the physicians and asked them why. And they said most of these people don't have insurance. And they use emergency rooms as their primary care, and specifically prostate cancer. So I said, how do we stop that? He said, we have to go out and test them. We can catch it before cancer exits the prostate and the lymph nodes. We can save them. So what I did is that I put up $1 million to start this. In the last 22 months, we have tested 3,000 men. We have operated on 35 that I paid for who would have died in 8 to 10 weeks. Now, the thing is that I don't understand how the other side could say, let these people die. And I'm also on the board of the Connecticut Hospital Association, and no one is going to operate on you for free, period. Maybe you can get a testing, maybe you can get a biopsy, but no, people say go to the emergency room. The emergency room only stabilizes you until you can go to your physician.
Right.
So what happens if you don't have a physician? You go home and you die.
Right.
And we stopped that in Connecticut. I was just given the Booker T. Washington and the George Washington Carver Award from Tuskegee. I just formed a joint venture with them. I just supplied them with 2,000 tissues to try to find out how we can stop this particular cancer, and specifically African American men. And I'm not going to say, but if you go to our website, which is SFMHI, you would see the men that we have saved in a testimony.
Right.
And I would love for you to use this inside when they say we should, as soon as I get in there, we're going to let them say that I would have killed these men. And I like to work with you on that because these are actually testimony from people who actually testified and said, I would have been dead if Curtis Robinson Mental Health Institute of St. Francis hasn't saved me. So I just want to thank you, and I just hope that we could at some point, I talked to Dr. Richard Blumenthal, which we're giving a president from Hartford, University of Hartford here. We're giving him an honorary a doctor's degree next week, a couple of weeks. He told me, send you his God. He's 110% behind you. I'm going to ask him to sponsor some type of amendment for the Obama bill to basically pick up these people now who's dying that can't afford it. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I appreciate all the outstanding work you're doing. You shouldn't have to finance this out of your pocket. It's wonderful that you do. There's no other country on earth where that happens.
No.
Well, let me take that back. There's no other advanced, developed country on earth where that happens. It just doesn't happen. And it's embarrassing.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons we passed healthcare reform. Now, prostate cancer is a great example. Eminently treated. If you diagnose it early enough, the survival rates are sky high. But men don't like going to doctors. Testing for prostate cancer is not that much fun. And if you don't have regular preventive care, then it can kill you. So this is a great example of us being penny wise and pound foolish when we don't provide preventive care to men when it comes to prostate cancer, women obviously when it comes to breast cancer or cervical cancer or what have you. We end up paying. It's just we pay for, not just because they may go to the emergency room and they may get operated on, but if they do get operated on, then it's being charged to everybody's premiums here. If you don't have Mr. Robinson paying for it, then everybody else is going to pay for it because on average, folks' deductibles here are about $1,000 higher than they would be if it wasn't for the uncompensated care that gets built into the price of health care for those who do pay. So this is why health care reform is not only the moral thing to do, but it's actually the smart thing to do. We spend on average about 17% of our GDP on health care, which is about a third higher than the next highest country, and they have better outcomes. Doesn't make any sense. So that's what this debate about healthcare has been all about. Now, unfortunately, at this point, the fate of a big chunk of healthcare, which was making sure that everybody is able to get care regardless of pre-existing conditions, depends on the Supreme Court's decision in the next 2 months. I have to tell you, I taught constitutional law. I know this stuff pretty well. This case shouldn't have gotten to the Supreme Court. The narrow question here was whether or not Congress had authority under the Commerce Clause to pass this bill. You have not seen a legislation that was passed by Congress on an issue of huge national economic importance overturned under the Commerce Clause since the Lochner era, since before the New Deal. But we'll have to see what happens. I actually think the Supreme Court ultimately will have to uphold it, and it's the right thing to do. And the question there is just, do we make folks who can afford it get health care so that we don't have a situation where everybody else has to pay for their care? That's the narrow question involved before the Supreme Court. And the easy answer is we should be able to do that. But the Supreme Court's a little different. All right.